This is Scraps from GriffinMods, and this is the Retaliator Unleashed Stage 1 kit from Orange Modworks. It's the first kit that they've released to go along with the new Elite line of blasters. It's similar to the other Unleashed kits in that the Stage 1 kit comes with a new trigger catch, double strength trigger catch springs, as well as a reinforcement plate for the back of the blaster, and an all new mainspring. The packaging is quite a bit different. You can see it says solid here in great big letters, which I'm guessing is the new slogan for the Unleashed line. And then it's got all kinds of Orange Modworks logos and contact information on the box. Inside the box, you get the instruction guide, which is pretty much pointless. They also have a tutorial online if you need to watch it. Mine was a pre-order, so I get the special edition metal trigger, which is actually quite a bit heavier than I thought it would be. And then this is the new trigger catch, as well as the 2x trigger catch springs, and the reinforcement backplate, and the all-new mainspring. So the only issue I really have with this kit is this piece right here. This is the reinforcement plate for the back end of the blaster. It's actually very, very strong. It's very well made. It's very durable. The problem is it's not made for the Retaliator. It's actually made for the Recon. You can see the large diameter of the opening here, and that's because it was made to go in the back of the Recon, which has a large plunger tube that comes out the back, and it's wide enough for the tube to go through, but not wide enough for the spring. So therefore, where the plastic would be here on the back of the blaster, it provides support where the spring is pressing up against the shell of the blaster. Now, on a Retaliator, because it's a direct plunger design, you have the same back piece with the same big opening, and you have this little tiny plunger rod coming out of the back. And so the spring itself is not actually resting on the reinforcement plate at all. So I guess you could argue that the reinforcement plate reinforces that general area and therefore is offering some reinforcement back there, but I would have just very much liked to have seen a custom-made piece just for the Retaliator. And the other benefit to having a custom-made piece is you could then take that piece and drop it in, say, a clear Recon, and it would actually create a spring rest and make it very, very easy to, or it would be a useful tool in retrofitting Recons with Retaliator internals. So that being said, the rest of the kit is very, very nice. This is the new trigger catch. It is cast, I believe it's aluminum, and it is very, very sturdy. You wouldn't ever have to worry about this breaking. It's pretty much the same as the stock catch, except for these two tiny little lips up here where the catch spring goes. And the reason for that is it's actually a very, very smart idea. This is the double strength trigger catch spring, and you just twist it on over those teeth, and those teeth hold the spring on. So when you're opening your blaster back up to do maintenance on it, or when you're doing the initial installation, you don't have to worry about the spring popping out and flying all over the place and having to track it down, because I lose catch springs all the time, and that's actually why they send it with two. So this will help out a lot with anytime you need to open up your blaster. Here is the metal trigger, which I'm kind of excited about. I haven't used any of their metal triggers before, and it's very tactical, and personally I like things that are tactical. And this is probably the most important part of the kit, and this is the 2.5 times mainspring. It's 2.5 times the strength of the stock mainspring, and it's a 5 kilogram spring. It's very, very beefy. It's hard to compress by hand, and it's a very, very good spring. I've actually already played around with this spring because it came out before the kit, and tried it out in my Retaliator, and it's really, really awesome. So when you're doing your installation at home, make sure you look out for this piece right here that likes to try to leap out of the top of the tactical rail every time you open up your blaster. Other than that, it's all pretty straightforward. This is the trigger catch right here. You can see it's got this kind of flimsy little spring on it, and it's made out of white plastic. This is the Orange Modworks metal trigger catch, and I've already threaded the spring onto the top. When you install it, you want to make sure that this archway right here is facing the front of the blaster, because that's to accommodate for the plunger tube itself. You just lift the plunger tube up, and it slides right in underneath. Make sure you've got a good range of motion with the trigger catch, and it can go up and down. For the trigger itself, it just lifts straight out, and you want to thread the spring off of there. And this is kind of a flimsy spring too. I think it'll be strong enough for the metal trigger, but if it's not, you can always cannibalize one out of an ink pen. Those usually work pretty well. And that fits right here onto the back of the trigger, and that just drops in. And once you've got all that taken care of, the spring itself just slides right over the plunger rod. And because I've done the dead space reduction on this blaster, I've got a little bit more room for the spring to rest in the back of the blaster, and I don't have to worry about it popping out as much as you would with like a stock Retaliator. So once you reassembled both halves of the blaster, the last thing to do is to fit the reinforcement plate into the back cap of the blaster. It only goes in one way, and that's with the more polished side facing out towards you, and then you just probably have to turn it a couple of times until it's fit in there right. Alright, so that's the right way there. You can see how it matches up with the screw posts, and then you have to just kind of push in with your thumbs and snap it in place. And now it's ready to go on the back of the blaster in the same way that you took it off. Now that everything's put back together, we'll go ahead and see how it fires. Yes, I am wearing a Thundercats hoodie. These are stock Elite darts. So the velocity on that is just awesome. It shoots freaking lasers. I've actually had a fair amount of time to play with this spring. It came out about a month ago, and I reviewed it back then. So I can tell you that the ranges outside are 75 to 80 feet level shots, depending on the kind of darts that you're using and the conditions. And you can get up to about 110 feet on angled shots, which is really, really awesome. This kit itself was designed not necessarily as a performance enhancing kit, but to reinforce your blaster for the Stage 2 kits and other kits later to come. And the Stage 2 kit will feature things like a new bolt sled and a new breech and potentially an even stronger spring, as well as other performance enhancing features. So all in all, I would probably give this kit a 2.5 or a 3 out of 5, but that's for a Stage 1 kit. That's pretty good. The kit's available at orangemodworks.com. I'll link put the link here in the description box, as well as a link to the range test for the spring itself if anyone's interested in watching that. So if you like the video, please subscribe, and thank you very much for watching.